Welcome to another edition of the WIU Football Coaches Show. Alongside the head coach of the Western Illinois football team, Bob Nielsen, I'm Danny Frey. The Fighting Leathernecks got back in the win column with a thrilling 37-36 homecoming victory over Southern Illinois in the final seconds. Coach, what was it like to finish a game off like that? Kind of how you talked about in the offseason.
Yeah, finish is a key word, and we've been talking about that a lot through the offseason. Games that we were in last year and ended up losing at the end and didn't finish. It was nice to see one come to the end, and we finish it with a win. Before
they finish it, though, let's take a look at the first half highlights from the big homecoming game at Hanson Field. Pretty big crowd on hand, the team coming in, and Western would go right with Nico Watson on the ground very early and often on the first drive. Was that kind of the game plan, to pound it on the ground?
Well, we wanted to establish a run game early. We thought that would open up some opportunities for us to throw it. They're a team that wants to take away the run, and that first series, a couple of big runs by Nico there made him play more honest in the secondary through the course of the day.
Yeah, again, up the middle, 27 yards for the opening touchdown, 12:41 left in the first quarter, 7-0 WIU. And how important was it to get on the board first?
Opening drives are critical, and particularly with the layoff that we had, not playing for a week, you want to start fast, and no better way to start fast than to put the ball in the end zone, and I think what it was, a 4 or 5 play drive.
Yeah, just a quick 4-play drive, and then SIU trying to answer on their next drive in the first quarter, and they would go down and drive pretty well, and that would set up Austin Johnson for seemingly a chip shot for him. He's coming off a special teams player of the week nod, but he slips and misses a 27-yarder and a couple big early stops, Coach.
Yeah, big stop anytime you can keep team from putting points on the board. Defense did a good job when we got into the red zone, raising up and forcing several field goal attempts on the day.
Yeah, on to the second quarter. A few seconds into it, Austin Johnson drills the 51-yard field goal, and thought maybe the wind caught it, but it still made it through the uprights.
Yeah, wind helped that one. I think when it was kicked, we didn't think it was good. We thought it was short, and the wind carried it just far enough that it cleared the crossbar.
After a Watson fumble, another short Southern drive capped off by a field goal, this time of the 39-yard variety, 7-6. Western still by 1, 12:39 left in the second quarter. So Western still trying to limit SIU on offense, bring out the Western offense. Trenton Norvell hit as he throws, but he finds Stacy Smith down the field. It's a pretty good toss under pressure, Coach.
Yeah, he got hit just as he threw. If not, might have been a touchdown because Stacy had beat the secondary there, and Trent stood in the pocket, got him the football, and that big chunk of yards gets us into scoring position.
You see Smith later on kind of becoming maybe another kind of go-to guy, along going in the mix with Borsellino and Lenore.
Yeah, he's a dangerous receiver. A lot of speed, great in the open field. We'll continue to find ways to get him the football.
And we mentioned Lance Lenore over the middle inside the 5, and he had a good knack of getting open when they really needed to get down in field position.
He's still the go-to guy for us, and runs great routes. Both he and Joey made some big plays over the course of the day.
A couple plays later, Norvell lofts it to Taylor Hill, who gets the foot down for the touchdown. 14-6 WIU with 9:39 left in the second quarter. And hey, you use Taylor Hill as a target too over the middle.
A play we put in off of our goal line package. Teams sometimes aren't going to play that very honestly in the pass, and we snuck Taylor out into the back of the end zone. You might remember that play from a few years ago at Minnesota. So same play we used to score a touchdown there.
Quick out from Mark Iannotti, but Aaron Diggs is there to break it up with a big hit, and then they'll air it out down the far side of the field on the same drive to Jimmy Jones for the 26-yard touchdown. And that's really when the Salukis started to get their offense going, and then the Leathernecks to punt on their next possession. It is blocked and returned for a touchdown by Brandon Williams, the outside linebacker on special teams. 20-14 Salukis. Momentum on Southern side, and has been a little problems with the blocking on punts.
Well, we make a mistake, and that's what we have to eliminate. Our scheme is fine. We have an individual breakdown, and anytime you're playing football, if you have an individual breakdown, teams can capitalize on that. And so we work hard to make sure that we get that taken care of this week. But a huge momentum play for them, and obviously gave them a lot of momentum going into halftime.
Yeah, momentum really shifting back and forth all game. Adam Hoogerwerf, though, with an amazing diving grab. And why was he more of a target on Saturday?
Well, when you get teams that are going to cover your receivers, you got to pick your poison, I think, right now. If you're going to play heavy coverage to Lance and guys that we target a lot, then our other receivers have to do a good job and get open. And Adam's a guy that has been a real tremendous role player in our program, and a guy we can find ways to get the ball to as well.
On that drive, Western would turn over the ball on down, so it's back to the air for Ionati and the Salukis to Jones. He proved to be quite the threat, Coach.
Yeah, he made a couple of big plays. A ball that they throw really well. We knew that was one of the plays that we had to stop, was the fade ball.
Field goal attempt at the end of the half, pulled wide right again by Johnson. And that was another crucial stop. And Coach, how are you feeling leading most of the game but end up trailing at half 20-14?
Well, the special teams play is a huge momentum swing. We felt confident we were going to be able to move the football. Defensively, we showed the ability to stop them. We just had to clean play up and eliminate some of the mistakes that we'd made, and felt that we could do that. We knew we were going to get the ball in the second half, and that first drive was going to be critical.
A lot more football left. All right, stay tuned for the second half highlights in a little bit. You're watching the WIU Football Coaches Show at this point, and we're going to go with the 2-minute drill, bring it back from last year, resurrect it from the Andrew Bacon era. And normally we ask a WIU football player some questions, but we have Coach Nielsen here, so you might as well use him as a guest. So, Coach, you think you're ready to go?
All right, let's give it a try.
Let's give it a try. And start out, any favorite professional teams? You're kind of just focused on the Leathernecks.
Well, growing up, I was a Kansas City Chief fan, believe it or not, back in the old Ed Podolak days and Hank Stram days. So I'd have to say that was my favorite team.
The Chiefs guy, kind of coming off a rough one though against the Packers in a rematch of the first Super Bowl. Now, as we're talking about Super Bowls, what about a Super Bowl prediction possibly, or maybe just a little tad busy right now?
Yeah, probably pretty busy and a little early, but hard to go against the Patriots. They've got it going there in New England.
Without a doubt. Now, what sport do you think you watch the most outside of football?
Right now, probably in addition to football, the sport that I watch on TV is golf. I try to play myself, so watching golf is probably the other sport that I watch on TV.
How are you on the course? How would you describe your game?
Very inconsistent.
As we all are. So, favorite opponent on the schedule? Maybe a certain team you look forward to? Obviously, every opponent's important every week.
I think probably for me, it was really exciting that first year when we went up to Minnesota, having spent all those years in Minnesota and knowing a lot of people on the Gopher staff. Tremendous environment there at TCF Bank Stadium.
Without a doubt. And we talk about those type of games. What's the most exciting game you've been a part of as a coach, a fan, or whatever?
I'd probably have to say the 2010 National Championship game where we won on a last-second field goal as time expired. It was almost, it happened so fast you didn't even realize what had happened until about 3 days after the game.
You mentioned golf. Was there anything else you really try and do in your free time outside of football in the off-season?
I really enjoy fishing. My son's an avid fisherman too. Just don't get as much time to do that as I'd like to do.
Sure, and a lot of good areas out here to do that too. Last question. It's the most important one. All-time favorite TV show?
Oh boy, I like watching sports on TV, but if you ask me movie, I'd have to say Rudy. I actually know Rudy's high school coach, and so it kind of hits home when I watch that, and it's a neat story.
Was he offsides?
Probably.
All right, that's it for the 2-minute drill, and we've got more on the way next. You're dialed into the WIU Football Coaches Show. Welcome back. It's time to check in on how the Missouri Valley football teams performed last weekend. And there were some good games on tap, some really close games as well, especially keep an eye on Illinois State falling to South Dakota State 25-20. Both teams now with a 7-2 record atop the conference with North Dakota State. Should be interesting to see how that one plays out. And then South Dakota creeping up to 5-4. They squeak out another field goal victory, hosting SIU 34-31. And now, at the games to look forward to this weekend in the MVFC Week 11 edition. North Dakota State, as I mentioned, 7-2, taking on Bo Pelini's Youngstown State Penguins, with really playoffs starting to get on the line. Same thing for the South Dakota battle, big rivalry game. Now, sure to get a lot of people there. The Jackrabbits going to the Dakota Dome to take on the Coyotes of South Dakota. Some games to really keep an eye on, obviously, with Westerns this weekend too. Western will look to rebound in Terre Haute at Indiana State against the Sycamores. They're a tough team to read, sometimes losing last week to Northern Iowa, a team Western beat 59-13. That's a score that the Sycamores lost by. And what kind of, obviously you expect a good battle from the Sycamores, but they have been a tad inconsistent of late.
They've won some close games. They've had some tough losses, like very similar year to what we've had. A team that's got a lot of offensive firepower, a team that's got a great deal of experience on defense. They're a very good football team. They do a lot of what I call unique things. A lot of unique offensive things, as well as very multiple on defense. Will be a great challenge for us.
Last year, a big win for the Leathernecks on Senior Day, and why were you able to come out really with a win for the seniors against Indiana State last year? What were kind of the big keys to that game?
Honestly, I thought it was one of our best games of the year. I thought we put together a complete performance, played really well on defense, forced turnovers, generated field position, and executed well on offense. Put pressure on the quarterback, which is one of the key things that we have to do this year against them. And the other thing we did very well defensively is we were able to stop up the run and make them one-dimensional. So we need a similar game plan, similar way of executing, and then be able to make some big plays offensively to create points.
Offensively for Indiana State, they have Robert Tanyan and Gary Owens, two explosive receiving targets. How will the WIU secondary be ready to attack that challenge?
Well, it starts with putting pressure on the quarterback. At the same time, what we need to do is need to be multiple in our coverages and give the quarterback different looks. Tanyan's a big receiver, 6'4", 6'5", guy that will out-jump you for the football, where Owens is a guy with speed, and so we need to do well from a standpoint of mixing up coverages and making things multiple for them.
Kickoff at Memorial Stadium in Terre Haute is set for 12:05 this weekend. For Coach Nielsen, I'm Danny Frey. Thanks again for watching.